Before I explain why and how women should be tracking their scale weight differently, first let me just quickly go over how most people would usually go about tracking their scale weight and just dieting. So let's say on week one you start your diet, you will diet down throughout the week. You will then step on the scale, let's say Friday or Saturday morning. You will take that measurement, you will diet down again on, let's say, week two, and then you will compare that measurement from week two to week one, and then hope that you've lost some form of weight, and then you would also, and you'll just keep repeating that over and over and over again for weeks and weeks and weeks. Now, that's fine to do if you're a guy. However, if you're a woman, it's going to be different, and the reason why you need to do it differently is because of your menstrual cycle. So how does the menstrual cycle affect scale weight so much? The main way it affects it is due to water retention. This water retention is caused by two hormones that consistently fluctuate up and down throughout the menstrual cycle. These two hormones are estrogen and progesterone. Both of these hormones, as they fluctuate up and down, can control how much water that you're holding onto. So let me just quickly briefly just go through the menstrual cycle so you guys have a better understanding of what's actually going on. So in week one of your menstrual cycle, um, progesterone and estrogen are at their baseline levels. This means that water is also at its lowest point. So your weight will usually be your lightest on week one. Week two, estrogen massively increases just before ovulation. This then makes your body hold on to quite a decent amount of water because estrogen makes your body hold on to the water. At week three, estrogen starts to come down, progesterone starts to increase. This week, again, you're still holding on to quite a bit of water, but you're holding on to less water than what you previously was on week two, but you're also holding on to slightly more water than what you are in week one. Then you go into week four, where your progesterone massively increases. And this week is, you can get crazy amounts of changes happening within this week in regards to water retention. I've seen women gain 7 pounds of water in this week. So this week would be a week that I normally tell people not to track. So it's because of these changes throughout your menstrual cycle and what's happening with water retention, why women can't do it the same way that men can, or at least they shouldn't be comparing the same weeks that they, from week one to week two to week three. They shouldn't be comparing those weeks in that way because it's going to become extremely frustrating for you guys because you could have been dieting down for like 3 weeks. Let's say you started out on week one when you're at your lightest. You could have dieted down week two, week three, and then you step on the scale week four, and you could have been dieting and been in a calorie deficit and therefore lost body fat for those 3 weeks. But the moment you step on that scale, your weight's going to be you're probably going to be higher than what it was when you first started your diet. And that doesn't mean you haven't lost body fat. It just means that you're holding on to a shitload more water. So this is why it's so important that you don't follow it and do it the same way that guys do. It can become extremely demotivating for you women. And also this kind of leads to a bigger problem as well, because then you get women who, some just give up their diet and think, okay, F this, it's not working. But then there's also a lot of women who start to diet even harder. So they're already in a calorie deficit, they're already eating quite low amounts of food and they're already doing quite a lot of cardio, but because and then they go even stricter, they bring their calories down even lower. And as you can see is, if you're consistently doing this, you're going to get into that cycle and it's going to become extremely frustrating for you guys. Um, that's how yo-yo dieting starts. It's just because you don't seem to understand that it's quick fluctuations. 99% of the time are always going to be water weight. It's not going to be body fat. Alright, so let's get to how women should be tracking their weight then. Well, it's actually pretty simple. You can still step on the scale every Friday, every Saturday, once a week. That is absolutely fine. You can even do it every day if you want to. However, you don't want to be comparing week one to week two, and then week two to week three. How you want to be doing it is you want to be comparing week 1 to week 1 of your next menstrual cycle. So it could be like week 1 and week 5 should be being compared. Then you want to compare week 2 to week 6, week 3 to week 7, and so on and so on. And this way you're going to get much more better accuracy of what's actually going on, because if you're comparing obviously week 1 to week 2, you know your weight's going to go up, so there's no point in even measuring that. You might as well compare week 1 to week 5, and then if you haven't dropped any weight over that time, again, it might, for whatever reason, it could be water, but if there isn't been any significant amount of weight dropped, over a course of, let's say, a month, then you're probably not going to be eating in a deficit, and something might need to change. Thing, and that's what I love so much about actually tracking your weight this way. I think it has a big advantage to it. I think the disadvantage is you obviously don't know soon enough, or at least quick enough, that you're dropping weight or you're eating a deficit. It's hard to tell, but it also kind of it puts people in a better mindset, and you're starting to think now, okay, because I might not see any loss in weight, at least on the scale, over the course of a whole month. It's now starting to hopefully put you into this mindset where I understand that for me to see any changes is going to take time. It's one of the things that I keep trying to express to people, and I can't express it enough, is that whether you want to build muscle, lose body fat, it takes time. It takes a long time, and you need to be patient. You need to have that mindset and be willing to put in the effort. And I think that's one of the great advantages of being able to track your weight this way. Anyway, just to wrap this video up, thank you for taking the time to listen, and I hope this has gave you guys some information, and I hope especially you women, hopefully you can start not being so stressed when you don't see the scale weight move. And to you male coaches out there, again, it's good for you guys to know this stuff as well, because when you've got your clients coming to you and you're saying, I'm not losing weight, if they're on that week 4 when proestrogen is through the roof, it doesn't mean that they're not in a calorie deficit. It could just be water weight. Anyway, thank you guys for listening.